so many PvPs and PvTs yesterday.
It was a couple today too.
we only a couple though. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I was missing my Zerg brethren, mate. Oh god.
I can't really blame you. And already we have a matchup with one of the Zerg players not spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, because spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE is our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Ukraine, representing Dominaticos Esports. He is Hellraiser.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the French Zerg player. He's red, representing himself. It is Stephano.
The original Roach Boy.
Yeah, boy, he's here, he's back. I say he's back. He never really left us, mate. You know, he was... yeah, there were periods of inactivity, I guess, for a couple of months at a time, but he has been around for a very long time, very consistent player. And yeah, I'm excited for both of these players because, fun fact, this is the first matchup, or their first series that they're playing out for this season.
That it is, that you mentioned it, yeah. Been going through a couple of the groups at a time. A couple of players, you know, have the opportunity to have a little bit of extra time, right? If they want to prepare for their opponent. Some of the others might hate the fact that they have to wait so long. I believe Group D hasn't had a match yet. So double check that.
I'm not entirely sure. I know that there are some players still haven't played yet, like these, that they're finally getting a chance here in day number 2, and we'll see how this goes. Personally, I love that Blackburn seems to be a lot more of a consistent map choice here in Europe. It's something that we see a lot more infrequently in the other regions.
Yeah, it's one of those maps where you look at it and think, why would Zerg ever allow this to slip through the vetoes unless they're in CVZ or unless they want to do something very cheeky, right? We always look at a rush distance. That's a prime target, particularly in TVZs for tank pushes. PVZs, Protoss doesn't have a tough time either.
Yeah. Obviously, like, the big strength of Zerg on this map specifically is kind of reminiscent of Jagannatha, right? Like, Queen Roach Ravager pushes can hit hard if Hellraiser decides to go for double Stargate Void Ray, right? If he goes for Sky Toss. At the same time, because you expect that, like, we can see a pretty big commitment to the defense, and it might not necessarily work. So we'll see how things go here. As we are slowly getting into this series, I do want to say one thing before we get too ahead of ourselves. All right. I got something for the chat. Okay, I have a plea to the chat. If you're out there, there's a matchup ahead of us. Okay, King Cobra is gonna be on the B stream. All right, which is pretty hype. It's pretty exciting, but he's also currently missing. The ESL admins are having a hard time getting their hands on King Cobra. So if you're in the chat, if you have contact with him, if you're living in Russia, you know, open up your windows, yell out. Find this man because we need him for DreamHack.
Yell out from one end of Russia to the other.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Can't take that much, and yeah, that's actually a very fast Evo chamber coming down from Stephano.
Yeah, I'm very surprised here.
+1 melee?
I assume it's going to be a +1 timing. We'll see if it's for melee or range. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Hellraiser doing very Protoss things, going for a double Stargate Void Ray opening. We were alluding to that in the beginning of the game, and he did go for that forge, so he wants to just wall up with shield batteries and cannons.
Yeah, a little bit difficult to do on only 2 bases, but thankfully for Protoss, the backwards third base is a little bit easier to defend. The melee is coming down from Stephano.
Yeah, I love it. So here Stephano is going to be coming out with a bit of a timing with this upgrade. This also leads me to believe that he isn't necessarily going to go for roaches, but more of a Queen Ling Bane approach to denying and killing his opponent.
I have to wonder if he'll ever get a Spire out.
That'd be insane.
With that melee, yeah. I mean, it is a little bit of a risk, right? Your opponent already has the Stargate. If you start getting Mutas right now, Hellraiser can get Phoenixes. If Stephano gets Corruptus, Hellraiser can continue to get more and more Void Rays, but wouldn't be entirely opposed to it.
I wouldn't be either. I'll be honest. I wouldn't be either. We'll see how this goes, though. As at the moment, Hellraiser is in the dark. He hasn't scouted his opponent at all. He doesn't know the timing of the lair. He doesn't know the gas count. He doesn't know about this Evo chamber. So everything is looking pretty up and up for Stephano. Yo, he even goes for a 4th base.
Alright, that's it. He wins.
And I'm feeling Aspire right now, right? I mean, obviously, like, he doesn't have 4 gases. Yeah, he only has 3 so far, but we'll see what tech choice, what tech route he goes for with this lair.
Yeah, it could just be Galal Constitution from here, a massive switch into roaches. But, of course, Aspire is still a possibility, just not going to be committing too much to Sky Zerg. Just looking to harass a little bit. +1 melee hasn't even finished up. And Stephano is getting quite a bit of damage here. Kills a shield battery and a pylon. Which supply caps Hellraiser a little bit.
I was surprised just because Hellraiser had these Void Rays and he was just chilling in the main base. I was like, response? You're not being active. And he just chilled at home. Lost some stack defense. No economic damage, I guess. It's not the biggest of deals. But here we go. The Void Rays are about to show up. They're looking to deny this gold base.
Show me the prismatic alignment. There's not a lot of anti-air right now for Stephano. He's going to have to cancel that gold just before it finishes up. That's almost as painful as getting a kill on that base.
It really is. There's no more energy for Transfuse, and Hellraiser realizes that he does focus down a second queen. We do have a couple more joining the fray, but another queen falls.
This is enough anti-air to chase away the Void Rays, though. The Spore Crawler really helping out in that defense. If only it was a little bit further towards the north.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we have a commitment into nothing but Void Rays with Flux Veins on the way. We see Stephano trying to double expand to make up for the fact that his 4th base is being delayed, but Void Rays are all over the place. I do love the Ling run bys, but it looks like the Void Rays are coming back home. They are going to be here to defend, and oh my god, look at this surround on the cannon!
Yeah, we're really going to be able to keep them alive. There's a lot of Lings, though. Stephano will have to evacuate the probes, or maybe not. Battery Overcharge is doing such a good job of keeping that cannon alive.
Jesus Christ. All those things went down for 7 probes. That was 39 Lings. Jesus Christ. On top of that, Southern base was denied as well, but at least the gold is getting up and running. And you're right, there is that Spire, so that will be the anti of choice. Stephano is not going for Hydras.
Hell yeah.
Oh boy.
Gonna be following that up with a Baneling Nest as well, so I can't imagine it's Mutiling Bane from here. It's probably gonna be Corruptiling Bane.
Yeah, I imagine so. +2 is also going to be a massive upgrade as well. You know, once we get into Baneling run-bys into the mineral line, they're going to be able to one-shot and take out all the workers. So things can get pretty intense with that as we are getting that underway. I'm just worried because of this, right? Queens are the only form of anti-air, and the gold base gets taken out. It just gets sniped.
Wow. A bunch of these workers trying to evacuate with gold minerals in their mouths.
Again, like the
is starving.
Yeah, like again, the Spire was relatively delayed. Like finally, 8 minutes in, plus we're getting our Corruptors and like a little bit more of a consistent form of anti-air. But it's still going to take a while for there to be enough of them to contend against these Void Rays. Oh,
absolutely! One prismatic alignment can make all the difference in an air engagement. The workers are getting evacuated, but 10 of them go down. Hellraiser has done a very good job of keeping Stephano on as low a base count as possible, but Stephano is always making sure that he has the worker lead.
That he is. Meanwhile, Hellraiser, he missed an opportunity to go for the 4th base. Instead, was a little bit greedy, went for the 3rd. That's exactly where the Queens were. Can they keep up? No, they cannot. There'd still be a forced denial in this space.
That prismatic alignment, man.
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
It really is.
God, Stephano just wants a 4th, you know? That's all he wants. Please.
Please stop. As Hellraiser sets up his own 4th base by the gold mineral line.
That he does. Carriers are on the way. Thankfully, Stephano, he didn't skip out on his tech, right? He already has his hive. He's already getting Vipers, slowly gathering that energy, and then he's going to be ready for one big engagement, you know, for parasitic bombs or ducks or whatever he wants. Doesn't have a lot of supply there.
If he's able to... That's the big thing that's worrisome.
Yeah.
Parasitic bombs are nice. Nice little bit of anti-air AoE damage. But you do need the Corruptors to clean up whatever's remaining.
Yeah, like you're not used to seeing a ZVP where the Zerg player has less workers than the Protoss. And a lot of that is because like he just can't get a fourth up. Like typically it's the role of the Zerg player to deny the fourth of the Protoss, right? Well, that would be the case on certain other maps, but on a map like this, on a map like Blackburn, Stephano has been really struggling. Finally, the hatchery actually gets up and we have some mining here.
Yeah, hopefully he's able to maintain that. As the game goes on, Stephano trying to find a bit of an opening, but he cannot overstay his welcome. He's tempted to parabomb somebody's Sky Toss army.
God, that he is, but one Viper goes down. A parabomb does land, two actually, but immediately we see Hellraiser just split them off.
Very nicely done. The Ling Run by gets quite a number of probes, but was it worth it for the cost of a Viper?
Well, the problem is that right now is a perfect opportunity for Hellraiser to counterattack because the Vipers have no energy. You know, just keep denying that fourth base, right? You've got your carriers, you've got your Void Rays. If things get too scary, you can always recall. But instead, he stays at home. He's still a little bit scared of the Zerg player. So this will give an opportunity for Stephano to get back into this. It's all about how much time will Hellraiser give Stephano.
That's the worrisome part for Hellraiser because he's not yet maxed out and he doesn't want to push out until he's maxed out. He wants to hit a critical mass of carriers of Void Rays. But it is going to take a while. These, even with Chrono Boost, carriers take a little bit of time to produce.
Yeah, it's one of these things where finally Stephano can breathe, which is great, but he needed to breathe like 5 minutes ago. Like at the moment he's like
already in a coma.
Yeah, he's in a catatonic state, mate. Like he's got some Vipers and he's got some Corruptors, he's got some static defense, but some isn't that much when you're looking down like the barrel at a 200 Protoss army.
Yeah, some is less than max.
But
think about it that way.
Yeah, but as you were saying, like, yo, Hellraiser's being oh so patient. I don't know if patient is the right word here, but he is.
Yeah, I worry that the next step here for Hellraiser is, well, I'm maxed out, but I don't have a bank, so yeah. I'm gonna wait a little while longer and give Stephano even more time, but finally he is once again being active on the map. I say that as he pulls back.
We're waiting for him to pull the trigger here, and just like this, Stephano, there was a period where he was down 50 supply, and now, you know, now it's only 30, right? Like, he's slowly closing that gap, getting more upgrades up and running, getting his Ultra Cavern, getting Pathogen Glands, getting more of his Vipers, more energy.
Yeah, despite being down 20 supply, some very well-placed parabombs can equalize a little bit here for Stephano. Still going to be at a bit of a disadvantage, especially if he isolates his Corruptors like that.
Ooh, he did get a carrier for free, but he loses a couple of Corruptors in the process. Now it is go time. We just have a fungal combined with Parabombs.
Fortunately, these Parabombs don't do too much against the carriers. Interceptors were able to fly away from Parabomb range, and that is really what you want to hit with the Parasitic Bombs. The Corruptors trying to get damage once again. Another pretty good pair of bombs, but such a quick reaction from Hellraiser, starting up his Void Rays as quickly as possible. Massively run by across the map. Stephano is trying to make sure that as long as he survives here, Hellraiser will be crippled, but that's a very big if.
That's the problem, right? Sure, a base will go down. Sure, Stephano is able to kill 22 workers, but Stephano just lost the majority of his army. He lost his Vipers. He only has one Infestor left. He lost the base. And now, Hellraiser, he wants more. He wants the Corruptors.
He's gonna get him.
Oh yeah, he's getting them one after the other. Another base will fall. The problem is that Stephano cannot stop this Skytoss army. Sure, he can maybe get another mineral line, and that's great and all, but he still has no answer to this. He's trying to get 13 more Corruptors. Maybe with enough of them, maybe he can try and take this down. The Void Rage are... Oh, not if they trickle in like this, though. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, you don't even need a Void Race at that moment. Interceptors just hit critical mass. GG. Hellraiser takes game number 1.
GG, well played. Oh, what a game one
Blackburn.
there.
Yeah.
You're like Blackburn, man. Oh god. True.
You're gonna have even more nightmares on this map. And I say that as a Terran player.
Yeah. I honestly I agree. Like Blackburn is a really good map for Skytoss. It's great. You get to like get your bases relatively quickly, and there are so many advantages that the Void Rays have. As we saw, Stephano tried so hard to get another base up and running. It just wasn't happening. It almost felt like by the time he got it, it felt like Hellraiser allowed him to get it as well. Like if he wanted to, he could have been a little bit more active.
Really could have. I guess that's a problem with only having queens as your anti-air. At least a Blackburn. As you were saying, the bases, sorry, are so spread out. It's really hard to maneuver your queens in position if they're out of position.
Yeah, not just that, but also the gold base is incredibly exposed as well from the other side of it. Like, there's just so many angles of attack to that gold base, especially when we're talking about Skytoss units. Stephano had a really rough time there. I appreciate that he was trying to go at it with a different approach, right? Like going for +1, eventually into +2 with his Ling Bane, and he was getting worker kills. Like he was pulling off these run bys. That was great. But he didn't have the answer to the Void Rays, right?
Yeah, the harass was brilliant. He was just losing the main army engagements, and honestly, I feel like there were some moments where he could have won. You know, maybe if the positioning was slightly better, if the fungals landed on interceptors instead of carriers, would have those interceptors would have completely been taken out by a couple of key para bombs, but it was not the case. That was game number 1. Now we're moving into game number 2 on 2,000 atmospheres. LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Ukraine. He is going to be representing Dominaticus Esports. He is up 1-0 in this best of 3, Hellraiser.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, LE, let's go. Our French Zerg player has had enough, opening up with a 12 pool. It is Stephano.
I'm loving this light. He's deduced what went right for him last game. The Ling harass, the Ling aggression. And now he's focusing everything on that.
Let's go. I mean, so Hellraiser is going for a probe scout, so he should scout this and he should respond well to it. I say should because if you remember, we did cast Cyril versus DNS yesterday, and
I tried to.
You're like, I wanted to
you
forget.
For reminding me of that.
You're like,
wiped that from my mind after such a close game number 1.
I know. I shaking my head, man. Shaking my head. But yeah, likewise, the probe doesn't go all the way into the main base, so he knows it's a pull first, but doesn't know quite yet. There we go, the Lings reveal themselves, he's aware of the 12 pull, and he is getting out that Zealot.
Yeah, taking this very, very seriously. We'll go for a full wall. Stephano isn't mining gas yet, so his follow-ups are going to be considerably delayed.
That it will. Meanwhile, the Lings are running across the map here for Stephano. He does have 8 Lings, made an extra 2. With these 8 Lings, there's a lot of opportunity to maybe get us around on the Zealots. Has to be careful. He can also dish out a lot of damage to this exposed gateway.
That he can. You never want to underestimate.
Mates!
You get some surface area. Speaking of surface area, already able to surround and take out one of these Zealots. The second one is going to have to be a lot more careful. Stephano has realized you have the Cyber Core up now. You're cornering out Adepts. I really can't do much with my Links here, but at least I can apply a little bit of pressure on you.
Yeah, at least he got the Zealot, you know, Hellraiser dancing with death a little bit, and he died. So he a little bit punished there for that. But this is what is scary. 2 Adepts. 2 Adepts are terrifying. We don't have Link speed. We have a Queen. We're going to have maybe a second Queen by the time these Adepts get across the map. There is an opportunity for these Adepts to get quite a bit of drone kills. So Stephano has to be very careful. He has to also make sure he has his Lings positioned perfectly to not allow them to get in.
Yeah, already a pretty nice spread on those Lings. If these Shades slip up even for a second, it wouldn't take much for the Lings to get a surround. How well can Hellraiser target down these drones? How well can he control his Adepts is going to be the question I'm asking.
Ooh, as he doesn't commit to the Shade. Thankfully, Stephano had his Lings ready and waiting in the main base, is able to push away these Shades for now. But the problem is that, again, Stephano has to keep doing that, you know? Hellraiser is just going to keep on shading, keep waiting for an opportunity when Stephano slips up for one moment, and then the drones, they're going to die, mate.
And it's one of those things. Stephano has to make sure he has his Lings in position every single time. Hellraiser only needs that one moment where Stephano isn't in position.
Oh, exactly. And in the end, Hellraiser, he doesn't want to test fate any longer. He does back off, does shade back home, and he wants that because he wants to keep these adepts alive for when they get glaives.
Yeah, he really wants to let that DPS stack up. He's even getting a pylon across the map.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a gateway for more Adept's Light? Or is he going to be a little bit cheeky and throw down the Dark Shrine? It would be insane if he did. I mean, it's such an expensive transition from here, but
yeah,
that's why Stephano won't be expecting it.
I'm just looking at your camera. It would be insane, right? It wouldn't make any sense, right? But oh god, it is a reinforcement point. What's important to note is that these glaive adepts are going to hit pretty early, and that is because we don't have a robo, we don't have a war prism. We're not going to waste any resources on that. Instead, we have a proxy gateway out on the map. What's also important to note is that this is off of 3 gateways, so not the most amount of adepts, but this is added. Oh, I guess this is mainly relying on the surprise factor, and it is not going to be a surprise.
Losing rapidly, yeah.
Ay.
Stephano spreads out his overlords well enough. That was a cancel. Oh, it got so low.
Jesus
Hellraiser
Christ.
Canceling at the very last second. It's able to save a couple of minerals.
That he is. I was a little bit terrified there, but that was a very nice cancel. You know, Stephano was able to deny the 3rd base, and because he scattered these adepts, he does pull the drones prematurely. He's not going to be losing too much here at the 3rd.
Yeah, maybe a queen, maybe a drone. But that's going to be about it. Basically drops in a bucket compared to the amount of drones he could lose to these adepts.
This is true. Meanwhile,
nice choke point.
Yeah, all the lanes get cleaned up, and now drones are falling, and oh god, this time Stephano did not pull them prematurely. More workers are going down.
Some nice target firing on the natural adepts, making sure that they don't waste time with the queens attacking nothing but drones. Same thing can be said for the main adepts as well.
Exactly.
And drones are going down.
And more betas, another gets targeted down, and this will be cleaned up, and now we have a massive wave of links. Stephano has to make use of this some way, somehow. What are the defenses looking like at the 3rd? Honestly, a little bit exposed, but no, he instead goes for the proxy. Makes sense.
It does. He wants to make sure that Hellraiser isn't going to be able to warp in from this point and bamboozle him further, but it does also buy Hellraiser quite a bit of time to get more defenses by that 3rd base.
Yeah.
Transitioning to double Stargate, which I think is a little too expensive right now. Hellraiser might be forced to cancel that base again.
We'll see. Unfortunately, like, even though Stephano tried to intercept these reinforcements, it kind of failed, so instead, finally, he goes for the run-by. But it's oh, he actually gets the pylon, and he denies the warp-in!
Just like so, a lot of lost minerals here for Hellraiser. He won't be able to get those back, but the link count has been significantly thinned out. Some very well-placed zealots making use of the lack of surface area.
True, but the Lings, you know, they accomplished what they did. A lot of mining time. They were able to like overwhelm the defenses that were there at the 3rd base. Meanwhile, the era of the Lings have come and gone. Roaches are coming out for Stephano. Unfortunately, he was still unable to make use of that 3rd though.
Yeah, but now he should be able to. There's going to be a little bit of time as Hellraiser transitions to the natural predator of the roaches. I'm talking about DTs. And I get Void Race as well, I guess.
Yeah, Void Race.
All about them DTs.
Mate, there are a lot of natural predators to roaches, okay? It's oh god.
Lurkers, tanks.
Exactly. The problem with what's been happening is that Stephano has been struggling to deal with these adepts, and Hellraiser, he's already over them, you know? They were just a brief glimpse, a blip in his life, and now he's moved on to Void Race, he's moved on to DTs, and this 3rd base is now finally up and running. Faster than that of Stephano. Look at the worker count, mate.
Yeah, he's had this 3rd base for a while. He's had a lot of larvae here, but he just hasn't been able to produce drones to saturate that 3rd base location. Completely different story with our blue Protoss player. Hellraiser is already saturated.
Exactly, and you were talking about him being like maybe a little bit too greedy teching up, but now like he's survived that step of the game, you know, he has droned up, or probed up I should say, gotten his bases, gotten his tech, and now he can focus on unit production.
He was confident in his ability to defend, is what he was. And he should have been. He defended.
He did.
Really damn well.
You're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. And now that Void Ray count is getting higher and higher. And what is the answer to the Void Race here? You know, what do we have? We have a lair. We have a couple of queens. How many queens do we have? We have 6 queens against 6 Void Rays. I don't know, mate.
Yeah, not looking too great here.
Yeah, especially
As
when we're...
Hellraiser- Yeah, when we're on even bases. I
Yeah,
would say
yeah.
that Hellraiser is looking to be, or rather is looking to be a little bit more passive as well in the mid-game, it seems, just focusing a lot, as you were saying, on his economy, on getting the production buildings, on producing his army.
Exactly. In the
So
midst of all of this, like, we can't gloss over the fact that there are DTs out on the map that are slowly dealing damage. Sure, there's detection everywhere, so they didn't get into a mineral line, but, you know, they're able to disturb that map control that Stephano is trying to get. We have a third gateway as well, a third Stargate, I should say, for triple Void Ray production. Ooh, the Void Rays do go head-to-head against the Queens, and the Queens with Transfuse will be able to hold on.
Nice control from Hellraiser, pulling back the injured Void Rays just before they get taken out. None of them went down, I don't believe.
Oh yeah, none of them whatsoever. So, a great start for Hellraiser. At least Stephano was able to hold on to his main base. And what we need now, and it's what we needed in game 1, if you remember, we need a fourth.
And Stephano is trying to get one, but it's right in range of those Void Rays, if Hellraiser only knew.
Yeah, it's all within the same screen. Meanwhile, here we go. It's at 10 minutes. It's a little bit late, but we are still going for a Queen Roach Ravager push. That is what we have all been working towards, or what Stephano has. Oh, it does kind of get scattered, though, by Hellraiser. Hellraiser going for a bit of a counterattack, does deny that fourth base, and forces the Queens to turn around.
Yeah, once again, the only form of anti-air he's got, and since all of the Void Rays are on this side of the map, there's really no use having the Queens attacking. Unless Hellraiser recalls.
Exactly. We do see a recall. Biles try to rain down, and they do get one of the Void Rays.
Not quite able to get a second, but so many probes are starting to fall to these Biles. The Nexus is still alive, though. That gives a lot of chrono boost. No! Stephano could have taken out the Nexus.
He could have, but the Nexus survives. Meanwhile, the Queens turned around, which means that these Void Rays here are still going a little bit uncontested. Okay, they do get forced back. Here comes the second wave with the Queens. Can Stephano snipe the third?
He should be able to. I don't see an easy way for Hellraiser to deal with these Queens.
Yeah. She should be able to deal with this at least. But again, it doesn't matter because Stephano's on 3 bases as well. Again, Hellraiser just has to be a little bit patient here. Bide his time. Don't throw away your Void Rays.
Yeah, and he's definitely not. He wants to be very active with them. Definitely take a big risk having them in the front lines with that many Queens. But again, he hasn't lost too many of his Void Rays. He controls them so well, pulling them back just in time before they get taken out.
That he does. Meanwhile, the fourth is up and running for Hellraiser. That's where he transferred all his workers to. We got plenty of shield batteries and cannons set up prematurely. We do have the Queens just trying to deal with all these Void Rays. Meanwhile, Stephano, he did end up losing his third. Oh god!
A couple of them do land, but not quite enough to take out the Void Rays. Battery overcharge really working overtime. But it looks like they're starting to fall. The Stephano have barely enough to keep this up. 36 probes have gone down. That third Nexus should fall as well.
It should, but you know what? The Queens ran out of energy. All the Queens will die, and we've been here before, Yaku. Now that all the Queens are dead, what shoots up as the Void Rays are going to be going across the map for a counterattack?
A full-on base race here. If these Lings from Stephano have anything to say about that.
Well, I guess so. And you know what? The Void Rays actually stay home. I'm honestly surprised because you know what? Stephano's not ready. He's trying to get spores up and running now. He's trying to produce as many Queens as possible. Oh my god, a miss rally as well. Hellraiser loses one of his Void Rays. But here we go. Finally, Hellraiser is going across the map.
Yeah, he scouts of his initial Void Rays that, yeah, you don't really have too many Queens on your hands. You're getting some Spore Crawlers now, but doubts that they're really going to help out too much. Well, if they all bunch up together, they will defend perfectly, but there's still a couple of gaps. So I'm going for another run by, as you're showing.
Yeah, it does cancel the third base. At the same time, Hellraiser, honestly, this third of Stephano is so exposed. He actually doesn't have vision of it. He doesn't know a base is there. Oh, now he does.
And he sees all of those drones transferring. Quick prismatic alignment that down, and then dip away.
He does focus it down, and now where are the exposed bases? We have a lot of spores outside the natural, only 2 here in the main.
Yeah, but I tell you what, there were plenty of Ravagers and the Queens were getting in position. Hellraiser snipes another Queen.
Ooh.
Is he starting to overstay his welcome, though? He eats a lot of biles.
He does eat a lot of biles, but you know what? He kills 2 Queens, and now there's only 1 Queen left, mate.
There is only 1 Spore Crawler by this base. The Ravagers were doing really well with their biles, but now they're on cooldown.
That they are. A couple of infestations are coming out. They do have enough energy for... Oh my god! The fungal and the piles!
What a winning combination, but a lot of Void Rays do still survive. Not enough, I think, for Hellraiser to keep up this pressure.
Exactly.
But definitely enough to keep Hellraiser on his side of the map.
I mean, this is the Hail Mary move that Stephano needed, and it was almost beautiful. It was insane what he was able to pull off with just Ravagers and Infestors. But the problem is that there's a lot more Void Rays where that came from.
Yeah, there are. He's always playing a mono battle at this point.
He is, mate. You don't need anything other than Void Rays, mate. What are you on about?
Yeah, not when your opponent hasn't gotten a Hydra Den, doesn't have too many Queens. Another force of Void Rays are coming in for a flank.
That they are. Now Stephano has to split his attention. What does he want to work on? He does try to bow down these Void Rays, but unfortunately does miss them.
Yeah, every time the biles get whiffed, Hellraiser knows this is an opportunity for me to deal with your Ravagers. You don't have any anti-air here. Beautiful fungal, but not much that can really take advantage of that. Unfortunately, the Ravagers were distracted in the main base.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the Ravager fungal combo is great, but the combo wasn't there. You know, they're kind of split off, trying to deal with their own flock of Void Rays.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. It's definitely better to have half Infestors, half Ravagers at either location. Hellraiser, he's doing it. He's taking it back.
Mate, he's just encroaching on both the main and the natural at the same time of Stephano. Stephano's struggling to keep up. He does land another fungal, but again, like, there's nothing else.
Ravagers
there's no follow-up.
There, yeah. As both layers should be taken out. Some decent biles to land. Only 1 Void Ray gets taken out, though, and GG is called. Hellraiser will take that series 2-0.